My teenage son called crying. The phone rang past midnight. Not a mistake, my son's voice didn't sound like mistakes. It sounded like something had been broken inside him. "Dad," his breath shuddered through the line. "Mom's boyfriend says you're a coward, that you hide behind a desk, that you pretend to be a soldier." The words hit me harder than I expected, not because of him, but because of her, because she had let that man, that stranger, plant poison in my boy's head. "Where are you?" I asked. "At Mom's," his voice cracked. "He's laughing at me, Dad." The line went quiet. I didn't scream, I didn't curse, I didn't even breathe heavy. I just sat there, staring at the wall. Then I grabbed the keys and left. The drive was silent, long, and familiar. The same road I once drove when coming home to her. Same turns, same shadows. But this time, the house wasn't mine. And she wasn't mine. When I pulled into the driveway, he was already outside, waiting, his arms folded, his smile wide. "You the ex-husband?" he called out, voice dripping with mockery. I nodded once. "Your wife says you're some kind of pretend soldier," he chuckled. "Big man in stories, small man in real life." I didn't speak, just rolled up my sleeve. The tattoo caught the light, the one no pretender earns. His smile faltered, then vanished. His eyes widened. "Wait," he whispered, throat tight. "You're the one they call." And then he screamed, not at me, but at her. "Do you have any idea who your husband really is?" I stood there, unmoved, as her world cracked. She stepped onto the porch, confusion written across her face, like she had lost control of a script she thought she was directing. Her boyfriend's voice carried the panic. Mine carried nothing. Her betrayal wasn't new. I had felt it before. The glances she thought I hadn't seen, the phone she guarded like a lockbox, the laughter she saved for someone else. I had buried the suspicion, thinking it was better for my son if I ignored the truth. But truth doesn't rot quietly. It festers. And now it bled out, spilling onto the street, with my son inside, listening. She tried to recover, words stumbling. "It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think," I cut in, my voice flat, stripped of anger. I had no use for it. She shifted her weight, the guilt flickering through her expression like a light bulb about to burn out. The man beside her tried to steady himself, but I could see his hands trembling. He had expected an easy opponent, a desk-bound father, the harmless ex. Instead, he saw something else, something he didn't want to name. That was the moment I knew. They had built their bond on lies, and those lies were about to collapse. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't even walk inside. I turned my back and drove away, leaving her with her fear and him with his shaken pride. But inside me, the storm was awake. Every late-night call, every strange absence, every quiet moment where she had looked at her phone instead of me, they returned, sharp and vivid. I replayed them, dissected them, and finally allowed myself to see what I had refused before. I began my quiet investigation. Phone records, bank statements, receipts tucked into the wrong drawer, a second phone bill under her maiden name. It was all there, waiting. I collected it carefully, piece by piece, like assembling a puzzle I had pretended didn't exist. The truth was methodical, cold. It didn't shout, it whispered, and I listened. Meanwhile, to the world, I was calm. To my son, I was steady. I drove him to school, asked about his classes, taught him the same lessons I once learned: patience, control, silence before the strike. Inside, though, I was already dismantling her carefully woven life. Every step forward confirmed what I already knew. She hadn't simply betrayed me. She had poisoned my son's image of me, twisting me into something small, weak, forgettable. That was unforgivable. The final proof came in a simple envelope: DNA results, the kind that answer questions no one dares to speak aloud. I sat in my car for a long time before opening it, my hands steady, my breathing measured. Inside, the answer was written in black and white. My son was mine. Despite everything she had tried to erase me with, that bond was untouched. That was my weapon. I didn't storm into her house. I didn't yell. I didn't break anything. I simply left the envelope on her kitchen table while she watched, frozen. "What is this?" she asked, her voice brittle. I didn't answer. She opened it, scanning the lines. Her face drained of color. The silence between us grew heavy, unbearable. Finally, she whispered, "You already knew?" I nodded once, and in that moment, she broke. Not because of anger, but because of how calm I was. The boyfriend sat in the corner, silent now, unsure if he was still part of the story. I didn't look at him. He no longer mattered. I looked at her. "You tried to rewrite me," I said quietly. "Tried to make me smaller in his eyes. But you forgot, truth doesn't vanish, it waits." She tried to speak, but nothing came. The shame was louder than any word she could summon. I leaned closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. "Every time he looks at me now, he'll know who I am. And every time he looks at you, he'll remember what you tried to take from him." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Her tears came, not for me, not even for him, but for the control she had lost. That was my revenge. Not fire, not fury, but silence. A silence that left her exposed, powerless, irrelevant. I walked past her, past the boyfriend, past the house that no longer belonged to me. Outside, the night air was sharp, clean. I breathed it in slowly, letting the weight slide off. I didn't feel victory, not joy, just clarity. She had tried to destroy me in whispers. I had answered in silence. And silence, I discovered, is louder than lies. As I drove away, headlights cutting through the darkness, I thought of my son's voice on the phone, the trembling, the confusion. That would take time to heal, but it would heal with the truth. I had no reason to look back. The house shrank in my rearview mirror, a fading memory, and I let it vanish.